Hey everyone, so this is just going to be a little video just on my experience with Spanish so far and learning the language. I've had a few questions about just how I've reached the level I am at currently, so I thought it'd be a good idea to sort of compress everything into a video that everyone can watch if they'd like, and hopefully I can inspire and share a few tips and tricks with everyone. Firstly, I just wanted to say, obviously, I'm not an expert in Spanish at all. I've sort of just been learning it for a couple of years now, and I'm very happy with the level I've reached. Obviously, I'm not fluent. As I said, I'm not an expert, but um, I'm very happy how far I've come. I can hold a conversation quite comfortably in Spanish now, and I can understand a fair bit. So I'm very happy with how far I've got, and you can see that in videos that I've posted previously. But as I said, this is just to help people out and hopefully share some tips and tricks. I've got my laptop here that I've written down some notes, which I'll sort of go through with this video. So hopefully it helps. So firstly, how I started. So the inspiration to start learning Spanish would have been I went away to Europe by myself in April 2022. And obviously you meet people over there who are bilingual or know 3 or 4 languages. That's quite common. So that sort of gave me inspiration. I sort of had the attitude coming back that if they can do it, why can't I do it? So then I came back to Melbourne and started learning Spanish. I started off by just taking some online lessons with a tutor. I think I was doing that maybe 1 or 2 times a week for an hour. So I started off pretty easy, but these did get quite boring after a bit. They were quite time consuming for what I was doing. I didn't feel like I was getting too much out of them. But I kept doing that for probably 1 or 2 months. And then eventually I stopped. I think I may have downloaded Duolingo in this time, and I started listening to a podcast called 3 Minute Spanish. It's a podcast on Spotify by a man named Kieran Bull. And this was pretty good. It was just sort of repeating certain phrases. So it gave me a good little base, and I did that for a few months. I think I did a bit of Duolingo as well, but that didn't stick around for too long. That really wasn't for me. I probably just did that for maybe, I'm not too sure really, maybe a month or so. But yeah, that wasn't really for me. And in this time, I was researching other methods that could help me learn Spanish in a more efficient manner, I guess you could say, because what I was doing so far, it was helping me, but I thought there was more out there and I could do it a bit quicker. So that's when I found Dreaming Spanish, the Dreaming Spanish platform, and that's sort of how I went down the route of comprehensible input. And this is sort of what I've based my whole method off. Learning Spanish, 99% of my learning has been through comprehensible input. That's really what's taken me to where I'm at today. So as I said, Dreaming Spanish, that's a great platform, a great YouTube channel. It's got videos from absolute beginner to more advanced ones. So that's been really, really good. And it's been great to be able to just progress through all those videos from, as I said, from super beginner to advanced. It's nice to go back on the first videos I used to watch, and I watch them now, and it feels a bit ridiculous. You feel like you're watching a little kid's show, but at the time when you first start watching them, you don't understand anything, and it's quite complex and hard, but you do just have to stick with it and trust the process. And a year goes by, and you look back and you go, wow, that's a lot of progress I've made. And then I also watched other comprehensible input channels such as Espanol con Juan and How to Spanish. And I was pretty much basing these channels around the same theory of comprehensible input whilst using Dreaming Spanish. So I just tried to do an hour a day of comprehensible input. Probably started that maybe 3 or 4 months in. And I've been doing that ever since. I've been doing an hour every single day pretty much, minus the odd sick day here and there. And then on holidays when I've been away, I've set that minimum to just 30 minutes to make life a bit easier for myself. Obviously, I'm on holiday, I want to enjoy myself as well. But a lot of the time I ended up just doing an hour anyway, but I would let myself get away with 30 minutes. But other than that, an hour every single day at least. A lot of the times I've gone over and done 3, 4 or whatever hours just because I enjoy it, and it's been yeah, it's good fun. So I end up doing more usually. I find it quite fulfilling, and I'm at the point now where I just enjoy these videos anyway. So it's quite easy nowadays. Another resource I dabbled in a bit was the Anki deck I bought off Refold. I think I paid maybe 20 USD for this, and that was quite helpful for a bit. I think I got some good vocabulary out of it to stick it in the head, but I just got bored after a bit. It probably got up to I was doing half an hour, 40 minutes a day of Anki, and it was just doing my head in. I wasn't enjoying it at all, so I just stopped and I just went back to just doing comprehensible input. I know other people swear by it, but it just didn't work for me. It was like the worst part of the day, almost sitting down for 45 minutes. It felt like such a drain. Compared to just watching videos of comprehensible input, it's easy. You just sit there and watch and take the video in. So in terms of where I'm at currently with my level of Spanish, so it's hard to sort of put a finger on it, but I can go through a few examples of what I can do and what I'm still struggling with. So I can understand YouTube videos pretty good. Whether that's documentaries or short videos or vlogs. In Spanish, that's all fine with me. I can kind of just enjoy the content now. There's the odd word that pops up, but I can usually pick up what that word is through the other words in the sentence that I already know, which is what the comprehensible inputs method's all about. So that's really good that that's working. And as I said, I sometimes just watch videos for fun now because they come up in my suggested and I've watched them before. So that's really cool. I'm really just enjoying that. I still struggle with native movies and TV shows. It's very dependent on the show and the movie. Even with subtitles, it can be a bit hard to sort of figure out what's going on. Obviously, I kind of know the words, but when it's so quick and there's a bit of slang in there as well, it does become a bit difficult. So that's something I'm looking forward to in the future, just being able to sit down and watch a native Spanish movie or TV show. However, dubbed movies and TV, especially ones that I've already watched in English, they're really great. I can pretty much understand those, similar to the YouTube videos, pretty good. I just kind of sit down and enjoy those, and that's really cool to think of, that I could just kind of sit and watch movies all day in dubbed Spanish at the moment, and that would be considered Spanish practice for me, which is really cool. I'm glad I've got to that level because it makes life a lot easier and it's a lot less stress on your brain. In my opinion, I can kind of sit on the couch and put on a movie and enjoy the movie for what it is whilst practicing Spanish. So I'm glad I can enjoy that now, because obviously the super beginner videos that you start with, they're not as entertaining. Obviously, they're nowhere near as cinematic and entertaining, as I said, as a movie or a TV show. I also found that Netflix original movies, even in native Spanish without dubbed, I find that quite easy to understand, or easier to understand. I'm not too sure why. Maybe the movies are just, I try to find basic movies, whether that's a comedy, usually a lot of the time, or a rom-com. It's a bit easier to understand. So that's been good as well. So another sort of part I want to touch on is my month in Spain. So I went to Spain for about 3 to 4 weeks in September. And my level at this point, it was pretty good. Like, I could understand videos on YouTube pretty good, and all was going smoothly. I was able to do basic tasks, obviously, like ask for directions, order at restaurants, get a coffee in the morning. If I needed any help at a train station, it was all okay. I was able to get by. But I wasn't at the level I could make friends in the language. I could speak to people one-on-one, but if there was a group of native Spanish speakers that I bumped into, I couldn't really understand the conversation too much in between each other. I could understand words, but my brain wasn't clicking instantly. But there was some cool parts to this. I was able to, in the hostels, there was a lot of people from Latin America, uh, especially in Spain, as well as other parts of Europe. And sometimes I was able to help translate if they were joining in conversations in English, but their English might have not been so good. I was able to help them out and try to translate for them sometimes. So that was really cool. Even though my Spanish probably wasn't at the level I wanted it to be at this time in Spain, I was still able to do certain tasks like that, which was really cool. It's really fulfilling when you're able to help someone like that. So that was really cool. Now, I wanted to talk about italki lessons that I've been taking. So, a lot of you will be aware of the platform italki. Really good platform. You get set up with a tutor and you're able to have a video call conversation for 30 minutes or 45 minutes or an hour. So, that's been really good. I started these lessons before going to Spain, which was, I think it was helpful. Only did about 10 or 15, but they were quite draining when I first started because I didn't understand everything the tutor was saying in Spanish and I had to think about what I was going to say. But I noticed once I came back from Spain and back home, I continued on with these lessons and it was a bit easier. My understanding had gone up a lot, sorry. And now when I do lessons, I've done about 35 lessons now, so not heaps, but it's a lot more relaxing because I almost understand everything that the tutor's saying. My brain doesn't have to think about two things. I just have to focus on speaking because it's all natural to me what the tutor's saying. Obviously, we're talking about topics that I enjoy, so that probably helps. I'm not getting bored and distracted. So that's been really good. Currently, I'm just doing 2 45-minute lessons a week, and I'll probably keep that up. But the main thing I'm going to keep doing is the comprehensible input. And these italki lessons are just to help with my speaking, and it's nice to mix it up a bit and do something else and actually connect. Although it's not as good as being next to someone in real life, it's nice to connect to an actual human. I find that really enjoyable, and you also get good input from it, from just listening to what the tutor's asking you or what they're telling you. So that's really good for input regardless. And finally, what are my plans for the future with Spanish? So I'm just going to continue with my 1 hour of comprehensible input per day. That's worked fantastically for me so far. That's just going to be a minimum. Some days I'll go well beyond that. I might do 3 or 4 hours if I've got time and if I'm enjoying the content that I'm watching. But I'll always try to do a minimum of 1 hour. And as I said, I'm just going to keep doing that and doing the italki lessons, as I said. I would also like to travel to South America in the coming years. I think this might be a good way to sort of be the finalising chapter of my Spanish journey. I think it'd be a good way to just close the book, close the chapter in learning Spanish, and hopefully I can nail it by then. Spending a few months in South America. Hopefully I can get really on top of it and I can consider myself fluent and I can get by in almost every situation. So that's probably my goal, and then who knows, maybe another language after that. But I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing so far. I know it's working and I'm really happy with the progress I've made in 2 years. I probably never would have thought I've come this far. I would have come this far just by watching videos and using the comprehensible input method. But I'm just going to keep going and I'm going to keep enjoying it as well because I think that's really important. The motivation, it comes and goes, but I think it's just important to stay consistent. The motivation will always come back if it's low, and it's good when the motivation is high. Just keep watching as much Spanish videos or podcasts as I possibly can to just increase my comprehension into the future. But yeah, thank you for listening in. I hope this has helped a few people. I know it didn't cover everything, but I thought it might just cover a few things, a few of the questions that people were asking me, and hopefully it can help a few of you. So all the best. Cheers.